My husband didn't try to kill me. He tried to legally erase me, filed papers saying I was dead so he could steal everything I owned. But the second he sit in court to finalize my legal death, my dad walked in with one document. And my husband's whole plan exploded right in front of the judge. I used to think routine meant safety, a life built on trust, not surprises. For 8 years, that's exactly what I believed I had with Mark. Quiet mornings, predictable nights, and a marriage that felt steady. Looking back now, that steady life was just the cover he hid under while planning my legal death. The first cracks were almost invisible. Mail that used to come to both of us suddenly showed up with only his name on it. Then letters addressed to me vanished before I could ever open them. "Babe, you probably misplaced it," he'd say, all gentle and reassuring. But here's the thing. I don't misplace mail. And the softness in his voice felt off, like sugar sprinkled over poison. Bills started disappearing too. The ones we used to keep pinned on the fridge, gone. When I asked, he'd shrug. I moved them to my office. Trying to stay organized. Sure, organized. Right. Then he started waking up earlier than usual. A man who could sleep through a tornado, suddenly whispering into his phone at 6 a.m. The hallway felt colder those mornings, like the house knew before I did. Once I heard him murmuring, "It has to look real. It has to look clean. Just stick to the timeline." The timeline for what? The second time I heard it, my skin prickled. But the real gut punch was the insurance letter. A thick, official envelope, addressed to him, but my name printed in giant, bold letters across the top. My breath hitched. That doesn't happen by accident. Insurance companies don't send updates listing your name to someone else unless something's being changed. "What's this?" I asked. He barely looked at it. "Oh, just a policy update. Routine stuff. Routine." That word again. It sounded rehearsed this time, too practiced, too perfect. Men don't get perfect overnight, not unless they're hiding something that could burn down your whole life. That night, I walked past his office and heard him whisper again. "It'll be official soon. Just need the judge to sign." Judge. Official. Sign what? My heart lurched as a new terrifying thought crept in. No normal husband hides things from a courtroom. No normal marriage needs a judge behind closed doors. I stepped closer, and the floorboard groaned under my foot. The whispering stopped instantly. His chair pushed back. The doorknob started to turn. My heart jammed into my throat as I froze, praying he wouldn't see me standing right there. I didn't sleep that night, not even a minute, because that doorknob turning, that soft, controlled click, it didn't sound like a husband checking on his wife. It sounded like a man checking if his plan had been compromised. The next morning, Mark acted normal. Too normal. The type of normal that feels rehearsed, practiced in a mirror. He made breakfast. He hummed. He kissed my cheek like nothing in the world was off. But when he left for work, I walked straight to the drawer where we kept our bank statements. Empty. Completely, surgically empty. Every envelope, every monthly record, every piece of paper I'd used to track our finances for 8 years, gone. I opened our bank app and tried to log in. Password incorrect. Tried again. Incorrect. On the third attempt, the account locked. A message popped up, access restricted. Contact primary account holder. Primary account holder, meaning him. My chest tightened, not from panic, from clarity. He had changed the password to our joint account without saying a word. I called him, no answer. I texted him, nothing. The silence felt intentional, like he wanted me to stew. So I called the one person who always knew when something was wrong with me, my dad. "Hey, sweetheart, everything okay?" I opened my mouth to say yes, but nothing came out. My throat tightened. "Just checking in," I managed. But he didn't buy it. He never bought it. "You sound scared," he said. "Is Mark treating you right?" I lied, because I still didn't understand the danger I was in. "It's nothing, just tired." He didn't push. He just said, "Call me if you need anything." Anything. After we hung up, I walked back into Mark's office, determined to find out what he was hiding. That's when I saw it. A document on his desk, half covered by a folder. At first, I thought it was just a sheet of paper with my signature at the bottom, except I never signed it. The signature looked like mine, almost perfect. Almost. My stomach flipped. He was practicing. My husband was literally practicing my signature. For what? What document needed my name forged? I reached for it, but then I heard the garage door rumble open. He was home, too early, way too early, and I was standing in the middle of his office holding a document I was never supposed to see. When the garage door rumbled open, my whole body jolted like someone snapped a live wire inside me. Mark was home, too early, too sudden, too calculated. I dropped the forged signature page and practically floated out of the office, pretending to straighten a pillow the moment he walked in. "Forgot my wallet," he said with that calm, polished smile. But his eyes moved slower than his face, scanning, checking, measuring the room like a crime scene. His gaze lingered on the hallway behind me. I forced the laugh. "Everything okay?" "Perfect," he said too quickly, and just like that, he left again. When his car finally rolled down the driveway, I locked the door and just stood there, breathing like I'd run a marathon. Part of me wanted to run, just leave, right then and there. But another part needed answers, needed the truth, even if it shattered everything I thought my marriage was. So I went back to the office. The forged page was still there, but something else under the folders caught my eye. A legal form, stamped, filed, real. My name at the top. And next to it, one word that made my vision tunnel: deceased. My ears rang, the walls blurred. The air felt thin, like the room was suddenly missing oxygen. He wasn't preparing for divorce. He wasn't planning to leave. He was planning a world where I didn't exist. My knees buckled, and I had to steady myself against the desk. I flipped the page over. Another paper slipped out. A witness affidavit, signed by someone named Claire H. Claire who? I didn't know a Claire. Mark didn't know a Claire. The signature looked forced, the loops too practiced, too perfect. And then it hit me. Why create a fake witness unless he planned to submit these documents soon? My stomach twisted. This wasn't some future plan. This was already in motion. I whispered, "Oh my God, he's actually doing it." Before I could think, the mail slot clattered. A heavy envelope slid through. I picked it up and froze. A state of Emma Williams. A state. As if I were already gone. My throat tightened. Then, a shadow moved across the frosted glass of the front door. Slow. Silent, not knocking, not shifting, just there, waiting. That shadow outside the door stayed still so long it felt like time stopped. No knock, no movement, just a presence. When it finally drifted away, my lungs burned from holding in my breath. I didn't dare look through the peephole. Whatever was on the other side, mailman or monster, I couldn't face it. I sank onto the floor and ripped open the envelope addressed to my estate. Inside was a stack of life insurance documents. Thick, cold, too official. At the top, claim initiation, beneficiary, Mark Davis. A cold sweat crawled down my spine. What claim? A claim for me? I flipped the page and felt my stomach drop as I saw it. A massive policy. In my name. Recently updated. And every signature, the approval, the beneficiary change, the authorization, signed by me. Except I never signed anything. I stared at the paper so long the letters blurred. Was I really sleeping beside a man who'd already reported me dead? Did he ever love me at all? What else was he willing to erase? My heart twisted with something worse than fear. Betrayal, the kind that makes your hands shake. I stood up too fast, dizziness rushing in, and the house creaked. Not old house creaking, but something sharper, heavier, like a footstep upstairs. My breath hitched. Is he home? Did he come back without me hearing? Had he been inside this whole time? I didn't move, not a muscle. I just stood there, holding my own death paperwork. After a long, terrifying minute of silence, I forced myself to call the insurance company. Thank you for calling Pinestone Assurance. How may I help you? Hi, this is Emma Williams. I need information about a policy in my name. Typing. A pause. I'm sorry, ma'am. There's a note on this account. My throat tightened. A note? Yes. It says, all inquiries must be directed to the beneficiary until the claim is concluded. The room tilted. Beneficiary. Mark. Ma'am, the rep said gently. Are you still there? I swallowed hard. What claim was filed? Another pause, longer, heavier, like she was afraid to say the next words. A claim listing your date of death. My pulse stopped cold. What? She exhaled. According to our records, ma'am, you died 3 weeks ago. I couldn't breathe. 3 weeks ago, I was making dinner. 3 weeks ago, I was alive, laughing, sleeping next to him. 3 weeks ago, my life was real. Yet on paper, I'd already been erased. And the hearing to finalize the payout, she added quietly, is tomorrow. Tomorrow. My knees nearly buckled. If the judge signed that paperwork, I wouldn't just be metaphorically gone. I'd be legally dead. I don't remember walking to the couch. I don't remember sitting down. All I remember is staring at those insurance papers like they were a prophecy someone forgot to warn me about. 3 weeks ago, I died. 3 weeks ago, my husband submitted paperwork saying I wasn't alive. 3 weeks ago, he cashed in on a fantasy where I didn't exist. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. Had he been rehearsing my death every morning while I cooked breakfast? Had he whispered timelines and signatures while I slept beside him? The house felt too small, too quiet, like the walls were holding secrets I wasn't supposed to learn. Then something hit me with a cold rush. If the hearing was tomorrow, he wasn't planning on telling me. He wanted me blindsided, confused, silent, legally invisible. I pressed my hands to my face, trying to breathe through a panic that felt like it was crushing my ribs. I needed someone who wouldn't think I was crazy. So I called the only person who ever saw straight through me. Dad. He picked up on the first ring. Pumpkin? His voice alone cracked something inside me. I didn't ease into it. I didn't sugarcoat it. I just said it. Dad. Mark filed paperwork saying I'm dead. Silence. Long. Sharp, like the world held its breath. Say that again, he said, voice low. He has documents, a death certificate draft, a witness signature, a life insurance claim, and a court hearing tomorrow. Another silence, but this one felt different. It wasn't shock. It was calculation. Where are you right now? He asked. At home. Is he there? No. Good. Listen carefully. You're not imagining this. You're not overreacting. You're in danger. My throat tightened. He hasn't touched me. He hasn't. Pumpkin, he cut in softly. Danger isn't always a fist. Sometimes it's a pen. That broke me. I told him everything. Every whisper, every missing bill, every forged signature. He didn't interrupt. Just listened with that quiet, terrifying focus he only used when something was dead serious. When I finished, I heard him inhale sharply. He made one mistake, Dad said. What mistake? I'm not telling you over the phone. Meet me in the morning. Bring every document you found. Do not let Mark know you know. My heart pounded. Dad, what mistake? Please tell me. He paused, longer than he ever had in my life. Then he said, the one document he forged wasn't his to touch. Before I could ask what that meant, A noise came from down the hall, a soft thump. Not the house settling, something closer. I didn't sleep that night, not because of fear, but because of the thump down the hall I couldn't explain. I sat on the couch with every light on, clutching the stack of forged documents like a lifeline. Every few minutes, I checked the hallway, half expecting Mark to appear even though he was supposed to be at work. The hours crawled. At sunrise, I grabbed everything. Papers, envelopes, the fake witness affidavit, and left the house before Mark could circle back. Dad was already waiting outside a diner, pacing like a storm cloud inside a flannel jacket. The second he saw me, his entire face shifted. Fear, anger, protectiveness, all tangled together. He didn't hug me. He pulled me into him like I'd been missing for months. "Let me see everything," he said. We slid into a booth. I spread out every document across the table. The insurance packet, the draft death certificate, the forged signatures, the envelope addressed to my estate. Dad's jaw clenched so tight I saw the muscle tick. He didn't speak for a full minute. Finally, he said, "I knew something was off the last time I saw him, but this is calculated." I nodded, swallowing a wave of emotion. What mistake did he make? Dad tapped the forged witness affidavit first. "Her name," he said, "Claire H., whoever she's supposed to be, doesn't exist. I checked last night." "You checked last night?" I whispered. He nodded. "I made a few calls after you hung up." Dad wasn't a lawyer. He wasn't a cop. But he'd served in the military and spent 20 years working with county officials. He knew paperwork better than anyone. He lifted another sheet. "This," he said, pointing at the signature marked as mine, "has the wrong loop angle. Mark tried to copy your signature from an old real estate document. He forgot that I notarized that document 5 years ago." My eyes widened. "You notarized it?" "You know, which means the original is in the county archive with a timestamp and an image of your legitimate signature. And a notary record can't be overwritten, not legally." I stared at him. "So, the judge will know he forged it?" Dad exhaled. "Pumpkin, this isn't just fraud. He submitted a legal claim using a forged notarized signature. That's federal." Federal. The word hit different. "Will the judge listen?" I whispered. Dad slid a single folder toward me. Inside was paperwork I'd never seen, a certified, time-stamped copy of my real notarized signature, dated after the date Mark claimed I died. My heart skipped. "This is the document that will end him," Dad said quietly. Before I could respond, a shadow moved outside the diner window. Slow, watching. At first, I thought the shadow outside the diner window was just some random passerby. But then it stopped. Not walking, not turning, just standing there, staring in. Dad noticed it too. His hand moved instinctively, protective, deliberate, resting on the table like a barrier between me and whoever, whatever, was outside. "Don't look again," he murmured. "Just listen." My pulse thudded in my ears. He leaned in, lowering his voice. "We don't assume anything. Could be nothing, but you're not going home alone." A chill scraped down my spine. "Dad, do you think he followed me?" Dad didn't answer right away. His jaw flexed, eyes narrowing as he pretended to look at the menu. "I think Mark knows the hearing is tomorrow," he said. "And men who plan something this carefully don't like surprises." My stomach nodded. "Pumpkin," he added quietly. "We need a strategy." I nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay, what do we do?" Dad pulled the notarized file closer. "Tomorrow, the judge can't sign anything without seeing this. It disproves every fake signature Mark used. Once the judge sees it, the claim dies." I let out a shaky breath. "So, we show up early?" Dad shook his head. "No, we don't show up first. He does." "Why?" "Because guilty men sweat when they think they're getting away with something." My dad had this eerie calm when everything was going to hell, that military stillness. That I've been through worse energy. It steadied me, but only barely. I finally glanced out the window, slow, Careful. The shadow was gone. That didn't reassure me. If anything, the emptiness outside was worse, like he'd never been there. Or like he'd slipped away before we caught him. Dad, I whispered. What if Mark knows I found the documents? Dad didn't blink. That's why you're coming home with me tonight. I opened my mouth to protest. My kids, their rooms, their routines. But Dad squeezed my hand. Pumpkin. He filed you dead on paper. If he's desperate enough for money, he's desperate enough for anything. My throat tightened. Dad was right. I wasn't safe in that house. Not tonight. As we gathered the documents, Dad paused, gripping the folder tightly. One thing I still don't get, I said. Why fake a witness? Why Claire H? Dad stared at the affidavit like it insulted him. He needed a fake witness to swear they saw your body. My heart turned to ice. My body? Dad nodded slowly. He wasn't filing a normal claim. He was filing without a physical death certificate. I couldn't breathe. So what was he planning to use as proof tomorrow? Dad looked up at me with eyes that told me he already had a theory, and I wasn't going to like it. Before he could answer, a phone buzzed on the table. Mine, a text from Mark. Where are you? And then another. Seconds later, we need to talk. Before tomorrow. Dad and I stared at the screen. The third text came instantly. Don't make this harder than it has to be. Dad stared at my phone like it was a live grenade. 3 messages from Mark. 3 messages too calm, too controlled, too aware. Don't respond, Dad said firmly. My fingers twitched anyway. A part of me, some leftover piece of 8 years of marriage, wanted to text back, "What's happening? Why are you doing this?" But another part knew better. Dad placed his hand over mine. He's trying to gauge your fear. I swallowed. Hard. Dad, what if he knows where I am? He didn't blink. Then he knows you're not alone. That's good. We slipped out of the diner through the back door, Dad scanning the parking lot like he was assessing a battlefield. He walked me straight to his truck, checking mirrors, rooftops, shadows, everywhere a person could hide. But no Mark, no shadow. Just that empty, eerie silence you get before a storm breaks. When we pulled up to Dad's house, he immediately locked the door behind us. The familiar creak of the hinge somehow felt comforting. "Sit," he said, grabbing a legal pad. "We need to map this out." He drew a clean line down the paper. Left side, part. Mark's plan. Right side, our counterplan. Seeing it like that, ink on paper made everything sharper. Dad tapped the left column. He prepared forged signatures, a fake witness, a falsified date of death. He needed 3 things for that hearing tomorrow: motive, opportunity, and a clean paper trail. My stomach churned. And the motive? Dad looked at me with a long, steady gaze. The insurance money. I nodded slowly, numb. What about opportunity? Dad hesitated. That's what scares me. I whispered. Dad took a deep breath. He filed you dead without a physical body. That means he planned to argue presumed death. For that, he needed evidence of disappearance. Evidence. My voice cracked. Like what? Phone logs, abandoned car, staged emails, anything that proves you vanished. I felt sick because one memory hit me like a gut punch. 2 nights ago, Mark had taken my car keys, said he needed to check something under the hood. But when he returned them, my seat was pushed all the way back, like someone else had been sitting there. My chest tightened. Dad, I think he already staged something. Before he could respond, my phone buzzed again. This time, just one message. Short, cold, chilling. If you don't show up tonight, I'll handle the hearing alone. Dad's face went white, because we both knew what that meant. If he handled it alone, I'd be dead by morning. Dad read the message twice, jaw clenched so tight, the muscles in his neck trembled. If you don't show up tonight, I'll handle the hearing alone. Handle it, alone, tonight. Those weren't the words of a scared man trying to fix a marriage. Those were the words of someone who already had a plan and a deadline. Pumpkin, Dad said quietly. He's desperate. Desperation makes people sloppy and dangerous. My hands were shaking. Dad, what does he mean by handle it? He can't just... Yes, Dad said bluntly. He can. If he can convince the judge you're missing, presumed dead, or unresponsive, he could get that claim pushed through. But I'm here, I whispered. Dad's eyes softened. I know. But on paper, he's already erased you once. He's not afraid of trying again. The room felt colder, like the temperature had dropped 10 degrees just from the weight of Dad's words. I sat on the couch, hugging myself as a wave of nausea rolled through me. 8 years of marriage, 2 kids, a home, a life, and he was willing to wipe it all clean for money? Dad paced the living room, rubbing his temples. We need proof he staged something that ties him to a plan. I racked my brain. 2 nights ago, he took my car keys. Dad froze. Why? He said he needed to check something. But when he brought the keys back, my seat was all the way back, like someone tall had been driving. Dad swore under his breath. That's not good. A shiver crawled up my arms. Dad, what if you already moved my car? What if he dumped it somewhere to make it look like I vanished? Dad grabbed his jacket. We're checking it. Right now. We stepped outside into the dark, chilly air. Even the crickets felt silent tonight. Every shadow looked deeper. Every gust of wind felt like someone standing behind me. Gad's house sat at the end of a long gravel drive. The woods around us swayed gently, too gently, like they were holding their breath. We reached my car. Dad ran his hand along the hood. Cold. He opened the door. I leaned in behind him, and my stomach dropped. My glove compartment was open. Every document inside had been rifled through, and sitting in the middle was an empty envelope addressed to the county office of records. Dad stared at it. He was going to file something else, he whispered. What? I croaked. He picked up the envelope, hands steady, voice not. Pumpkin. He was planning a final piece of evidence. My breath hitched. What kind of evidence? Dad turned the envelope over and froze. Because on the back, written in Mark's handwriting, were 4 chilling words. Prove she's gone tonight. A twig snapped in the woods behind us. Not wind, not an animal, a footstep. Dad's head whipped around. Get in the truck, now. The twig snapped again, closer this time. Dad didn't hesitate. He shoved me toward the truck. Move, Pumpkin, now. I scrambled in, slamming the door, hands trembling so hard I nearly dropped the paperwork. Dad circled the hood fast, eyes scanning the tree line like he expected Mark to step out any second. But the woods stayed dark, still, too still. Dad jumped in, locked the doors, and started the engine. The headlights blasted across the gravel, revealing nothing. Was that him? I whispered. Dad kept his eyes forward. Doesn't matter. He's spooked. He knows you're not home. He knows you're not alone. That makes him unpredictable. My pulse hammered. So what do we do now? We prepare for tomorrow, he said, and we stay somewhere safe. We drove to a friend of Dad's, an old retired deputy who owed him a favor. The guy didn't ask questions. He just offered the spare room and bolted the door behind us. But sleep? Impossible. I kept replaying Mark's messages, the forged papers, the staged car evidence, and that envelope. Prove she's gone tonight. He'd planned everything. And the only thing he didn't plan was me staying alive long enough to fight back. After settle and covered, lefty. How much more will take? Morning arrived too fast. Dad and I walked into the courthouse together. the hallway buzzing with low voices and the smell of coffee. I felt like a ghost walking through a world that wasn't meant to see me. Mark was already there, standing by the courtroom door. Perfect suit, perfect hair, perfect mask. But when his eyes landed on me, everything cracked. He went pale, then red. Then something between panic and rage twisted across his face. "Anna," he breathed. "What are you doing here?" Dad stepped in front of me like a wall. "She's here because she's alive, son." Mark opened his mouth, but the judge called us in before he could spin another lie. We entered the courtroom. Mark presented his fake paperwork with the confidence of a man who believed he still had a shot. But then, Dad stood. "Your Honor," he said, voice steady as stone. "I have a certified, notarized document proving my daughter was alive on the date the claimant listed her as deceased, and the original signature the claimant attempted to forge." The room went silent. Mark's face drained completely. The judge tipped the folder, flipped the pages, and looked directly at Mark. "Mr. Davis, you are aware forging a notarized signature is a federal offense?" Mark swallowed hard. I can explain?" "No," the judge said. "You cannot." Two bailiffs stepped forward. Mark finally looked at me, really looked at me. Not with love, not with apology, but with the shock of a man watching his entire plan detonate. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to, because Dad squeezed my hand, and the judge spoke the final words that saved my life. "Case dismissed. Beneficiary claim denied. The court recognizes Emma Davis as legally alive." Mark was let out in cuffs, and for the first time in months, I felt myself breathe.